Wow, what a nice spot. How did you find this place so close to the highway? It's beautiful, yeah. I mean, we're still very much in the city, so I don't know how much of the stars we're going to be able to see, or rather, how many, considering light pollution, but this is a really pretty spot. You're welcome. Sit by me? Yeah, I figured that would be kind of obvious. Did you enjoy dinner tonight? Me too. I I really liked the restaurant. I wasn't expecting it. Is that another one of your culinary haunts, as it were? Okay. Really? You'd never been there before? Huh. Well, it was a fantastic decision regardless. I loved it. Yes, being a werewolf does tend to make me prefer things that have a little bit, at least, of meat on it. Wolves are carnivores. Well, I can't help it. It's just a preference. Haven't I explained that to you before? Oh, I could swear I had. Come here. Mm. I'm really glad we're doing this tonight. Yeah. I'm really glad that I get to share all of this with you. The good, the bad, the beastly. But in all seriousness, I do appreciate everything that you've been patient enough to go through with me, as it were. It's not always easy for someone with my condition to find any sort of relationship or companionship without fear or hesitance on the other person's side. And just having you accept me for who I am, flaws and curse and all, has been something that I never thought I could have with a human, anyway. I figured the only chance I would ever have at a happy relationship would probably be with either another werewolf or someone else who um, has some sort of supernaturalness to them. But to be honest, I really prefer you. I mean, you've been my friend for so many years. Hmm? Oh, yeah. The, uh, the full moon a few days ago was okay. Uh, I mean, it's summer, so I transformed, I shifted, and went out to the woods. I didn't bother with the wolf's bane. Um, it was actually really nice. I haven't really seen nor heard from any of those hunters since the hunter's moon back in October. So, yeah, I've been okay this summer. I mean, most hunters don't come out of the woodwork until October. Um, Sometimes you might get them looking for people like me in the woods in January, because the January full moon is often referred to as the wolf moon. So some werewolves will be out and about during that time, but it's not particularly common, to be perfectly blunt with you. Um, yeah, werewolves get a full fur coat to run around in, and yes, it is perfectly warm, and running around in the snow actually feels kind of good. Because in wolf form, it's a lot harder to dissipate built up heat. It tends to gather in our pelt, fur coat, whatever you want to call it. Um, so you tend to get really hot when you're running around. And for a lot of mammals, the only way to dissipate that heat is by panting. Humans are really fortunate in the ability to sweat to dissipate heat. Um, but in wolf form, we don't sweat quite as much, and even so, the outside layer of our coat is fairly waterproof, and it's just the inside that gets kind of damp, I guess. If you ever come out to the woods with me on a night when I shift, you can actually see my coat, how each individual strand of fur goes from coarse toward the end of it and gets really soft the closer it gets to my body. It's just the way our fur grows. Um, so it, I mean, I'm not saying that with any sort of expectation, of course, that like you have to come out to the woods with me sometime after I've shifted on some full moon. I'm not trying to say that at all. You know that. But, hmm? Oh, really? You'd be interested? Oh, that's kind of sweet. I know we've kind of talked about it before, but I kind of assumed you were just humoring me as a friend. Oh, that's that's really sweet of you. Thank you. Can I give you a kiss? Thank you. Mm, yeah, I know that was more than one kiss. But I'm a cursed werewolf, so I'm gonna steal a couple more. No, I'm just messing around. You know me. So, you wanted to come out here to some randomly beautiful hill just off the highway and look at the stars, right? Yeah. Yeah. Um, I took a couple astronomy courses when I was going through college. Do you know a whole lot about the stars, or do you just think they're pretty? Well, how about a back and forth then? You tell me a little bit about what you know, and I tell you way too much about what I know. Well, thing is, uh, my family always thought that I was going to go into astrophysics for my degree, and I could never have done that. As much as I love the stars and outer space in general, and I was really good at the astro part, it was just the physics that I was absolutely abysmal at. Like, oh my word. I could not do physics for the absolute life of me. And, like, I could tell you all the livelong day about the concepts of nuclear fusion and starquakes and magnetic field lines and how galaxies move through the universe and the law of conservation of angular momentum and that kind of thing, but I couldn't actually tell you how to do the law of conservation of angular momentum, like the formula or anything like that. So, like, I can point up at the sky and say, that right there is the Big Dipper, or, the body and tail of Ursa Major. Uh, I could tell you that the Big Dipper is an asterism and Ursa Major is a constellation, and I could tell you the difference, an asterism being part of a constellation, and the constellation being the larger formation of stars. But I couldn't really give you any scientific formula or anything. Yeah, Orion's belt counts as an asterism because it's part of Orion, the constellation. Well, constellations aren't just formations of stars necessarily. I mean, they are, but like, they're also used as a way to divide the sky up into sections as seen from Earth. So, like, you'll hear about certain, like, nebulae that you can see on really clear nights that are named for the constellation whose section of the sky that they are in. So, astronomers or astrophysicists will use the constellations as like sections of the sky. And in total, there's only 88 of them. And you'd think I'd have them all memorized, but I really do not. But I do like the stars, and maybe one day you should come with me out to the woods on a full moon when I shift, because the woods are really close to the city, so it takes a little bit of moving to get away from all the light pollution. But there's this one spot. It's kind of this rocky hill, and it's such a rocky and steep spot that trees kind of struggle to grow on it, so the only real vegetation on it is like bushes. And if you climb it, it's far enough away from the city that you can look up and see a lot more stars. I mean, I don't know if there's anywhere that we could easily get to without a really long drive to some remote campsite that we'd be able to see the arm of the galaxy. You know, that band across the sky that you see in pictures that is the Milky Way? Like, I don't think we would be able to get somewhere that we could see that. But it would be really cool if you came out to the woods with me and I could show you that hill where you can see more of the stars. Because it's just absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Um, oh, that constellation right there is actually a full constellation. But see how it's kind of shaped like a W that's kind of wonky? Yeah, that is. I've never actually known how to pronounce it, whether it's Cassiopeia or Cassiopeia. Like, which vowels to put the emphasis on, I guess. But either way, that is the queen, or named after a Greek queen, if I recall correctly, which I probably don't. But I always remember it because that W, kind of wonky W, is supposedly sort of shaped enough like a crown that it's the easy way to remember it. Even though if you look at any of those like night sky guide apps that have like overlays of art over the constellations to help you see what they're supposed to be, usually if you see one of her, uh, she's like sitting down. It's not actually a crown, it's supposed to be a person. Yeah, I had a professor in one of my astronomy courses say that astronomers love looking at the stars and hallucinating because nothing looks like it actually is named for. Like, oh dang it, it's still summer, so I can't show you Orion. But, oh yeah, Orion is just like an April to October constellation in the Northern Hemisphere. Sometimes you can see it at other times, but like I had a friend who said that he saw it in August, like right above the horizon as the sun was coming up, or like right before the sun came up, but I kind of had a hard time believing that. So, like, I can't show you that it doesn't really look like a person, but I think Orion looks more like a person than a bunch of the other constellations that are supposed to be people. But yeah, that's just a fun little thing. And honestly, looking at the stars with imagination is probably the most adorable, I guess, human quirk that I can think of. Yeah, I mean, there's something very sweet about looking up at the sky and seeing epic stories and people, and I don't know. maybe it's just me, but I've always thought that it was kind of fun.